AGSL TV, home of Rugby League. Dial *515# to subscribe.
Hello, I'm Rex Lita with Midday News. Workers are concerned into the rehabilitation of Papua New Guinea Defence Force. This includes recent signing of the Defence Cooperation Agreement with the United States to assist rebuild the capacity of the PNGDF. Prime Minister James Marape made these remarks in Parliament last Friday.
Prime Minister James Marape has assured Parliament that rehabilitation of the PNG Defence Force has commenced. He was answering to concerns raised in Parliament on disciplinary issues by members of the force posted to Western Province to guard the PNG border.
I am fully aware of all these issues, if not most of them. We have had erosion in our entire defence force for many, many years. That was part of the reason why the DCA had to be stepped up to partner the biggest military in the whole world to come in and partner us in terms of our sovereign border protections and capacity upskilling or capacitating our defense at the very earliest. But coming back to the issue, you would have, most of you would have known, Mr. Acting Speaker, it was in 2022, just last year. In fact, a little over a year ago when we replaced the defense commander, we felt that the leadership at Mari Barracks was also weakened, and a lot of discipline issues at many of our defense posts. And with respect to the previous commander, we felt that a new leadership needs to take place at Mari Barracks. Mr. Acting Speaker, I want to report to you and to the Parliament and to our country, the new commander, as a career military man, very disciplined, has taken strong leadership in Mari Barracks in the last year or two, and changes are taking place, especially in relation to discipline. He has stepped up the game in discipline of soldiers who are out in operational areas or in their own barracks.
The Prime Minister also said more care is taken in the deployment of military personnel on specific call-outs. High among them was border protection. He said it was the aim of the government to rehabilitate the PNGDF to a point where soldiers can properly and professionally carry out their duties with no or little challenges of disciplinary issues as currently being faced. Maricela Kelleton, TVWAN News.
There was space for more commercial banks to operate in the country to tap into an increasing banking market in Papua New Guinea. Prime Minister James Marape said when answering questions raised by the opposition on the banking situation in the country in Parliament last Friday.
Prime Minister James Marape said the government is now working with the central bank to look into the issues of commercial banks and the operations in the country, including the reformation of the National Development Bank. He said there is a need for existing banks to come into our economy as it is getting bigger.
At the end of this year, then earlier than the end of this year, possibly there will be an announcement on where we are tracking. This is a work we're doing with central bank. We've also asked central bank to open up the market, and some of you would have noted an occasion where myself and Minister Duma and others were part of an announcement by one of the oldest banks in China, a bank that has been operating in China and the world for more than 100 years, formed in 1912. The Bank of China has open office already in our country.
The Prime Minister also announced that the Bank of China is now working to meet all the requirements to open a commercial bank in PNG.
Central Bank has been informed we need more banks in our country, open up the market, instead of just having one bank or one bank that is dominant or one or two banks. We should have enough space for central banks to facilitate. For those who want to go into the banking sector, open up, have 2 or 3 more banks in a country. Hopefully in the process, you are able to, in a normal market play, allow the banks to serve our people better. But central bank has also been informed in their regulatory roles to keep watch on our 2 major banks right now, BSP and Kina Bank, work with them so that customer services and burden is not hugely passed to the existing customers.
Marape further pointed out that there are 1 or 2 other PNG institutions, like TISA Savings and Loan Society, that have indicated on moving into this space and are encouraged to do so. Craig Kaviagu, TVWAN News.
Toara village in Kerema, Gulf Province, came alive with a spectacular mask festival attracting dancing groups from the hinterlands of Gulf and within the central Kerema area over the weekend. At the festival recognizing the cultural event, Minister for Arts, Culture and Tourism, Isi Leonard, on behalf of the National Cultural Commission, declared the festival as a national event.
The Toare Mask Festival over the years have brought together cultural groups from various parts of the Gulf Province, showcasing traditional sing-sing, face painting, mat and basket weaving, and other tradition of Gulf art displayed. With these displays and performances, the National Cultural Commission on the weekend officially declared the festival as an annual event in the NCC calendar.
It now signifies that this event is recognized by the National Cultural Commission, and it has now prompted me and the governor to sign an MOU between the National Cultural Commission and the Gulf Provincial Government in embracing and promoting culture in Gulf Province.
This was marked by a presentation of certificates to the custodians of the festival, with the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the Gulf Provincial Government and the NCC to be made at a later date.
As a tribe get together, we can have our own little cultural events, but as a tribe, we must get together. So this event will continue, and we will make sure that it continues and keeps on going. Those who are singing, to those who are making pepea, to those who are making bows and arrows, to those who are making the cane masks, doing the paintings, and telling the stories, pass them on. Pass them on. Pass them on to your children. Pass them on to your grandchildren. Pass them on to your families, to your sons, to your daughters. That is your responsibility.
Governor Chris Haiveta has encouraged the people of Gulf to embrace their culture in true spirit. Susan Oreape, TVWAN News.
In regional news, the federal government has announced changes to the way workers from the Pacific are employed in Australia. Growers say they'll be forced to employ fewer workers from the Pacific as the Australian government introduces changes to its worker program. Under the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme, workers must be offered 30 hours of work per week. From July next year, the employers will no longer be able to average the hours and must ensure 30 hours are offered each week. But unions say that the new guidelines are fair and reasonable. Victoria's teacher shortages continue, with more than 1,100 positions at public schools are advertised. Amid this staffing crisis, some schools are finding new and creative ways to recruit staff.
When Keely McGregor saw a job ad for a teaching role in Melbourne, she jumped at the chance.
When the opportunity arose, I thought this is perfect, great opportunity to teach and get some travel in.
The Canadian is the first teacher recruited from abroad to this Broadmeadow school. As a specialist school, it has long faced additional staffing challenges.
There's a belief that teachers need to have a special education qualification. Things are changing in that space now.
The school is now using social media, contacting past teachers and looking overseas for new teachers.
When we get staff to come and they answer the ads and they're on board, we often get that culture of, I'm not leaving. I love this environment, I love working, I love to see the students develop and grow.
But finding new teachers is challenging.
Across Victoria, there are more than 1,100 teaching roles being advertised. That's up from 900 vacancies at the start of the year. That shortage means some schools are posting job ads, but not receiving a single application.
Well, we simply don't have the supply of teachers across the state that we need, whether that's just purely in numbers or whether it's the specialist areas.
Victoria's Education Minister, Natalie Hutchins, says the state support for the education system saw an extra 5,000 teachers registered between 2020 and last year. But even with that boost, schools are still struggling to find enough teachers for their classes.
The cost of keeping our homes warm this winter is about to jump, with two major energy retailers confirming bills will cost South Australian hundreds of dollars more a year from as soon as next month. AGL and Origin Energy are passing on higher power prices to their customers on market contracts who've already tried to shop around and find a better deal.
The news is less than sweet for millions of Australians.
They're always going up. I'm sick and tired, you know.
For a pensioner like me, it's not really good for us.
Shoppers and traders alike are struggling to pay their power bills.
It is a concern. It also would impact my customers because I'd have to up my prices in terms of product as well.
Inflation and higher wholesale prices are being passed on by energy retailers to their customers too. For households on market contracts with AGL and Origin, the price rises are steep, up between 20 and 30% in South Australia, or an increase of hundreds of dollars a year on the average bill. Some customers say retailers like AGL are winding back discounts, including those for people who pay on time.
And unfortunately, we're loyal customers, so we wouldn't shop around.
We're concerned for households, for low-income households. That's our primary concern. We know that people are doing it really tough.
With the price set to hike in the depths of winter, there is some relief at hand. For customers already in hardship programs, Origin says they won't pass the price on to them, and AGL is offering bill credits. A long and cold winter ahead for many Australians.
In sports, Port Moresby Vipers hosted Gulf ISO at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium on Sunday in an exciting Heary Cup match that went down to the wire. A last-minute try from the ISO number 7 Junior Bello sealed the first Heary Cup win for the Gulf ISO, 18 points to 12. The NCDC Morning Plus Port Moresby Vipers were impressive in the first home game at the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium, despite the dominant display by the opposition team. Nicky Asu steered the side around the park very well, and Gilmore Paul was all-class, crossing the line twice for the tries. This levelled up the scoreboard 12-all against the two early tries from Kenny Lahore and Gabi Tana. But the late surge from the ISO sealed the win with a fantastic last-minute try. The Gulf ISO has now registered the first win for the Heary Cup. Whoever wins most matches between the Vipers, Central Dabaris and Gulf ISO claims the Heary Cup. The Heary Cup signifies the social and cultural connections among these clubs, importantly the Heary trade that the people of Central and Gulf share from hundreds of years ago. The next Heary Cup match will be played in round 12 between Central Dabaris and NCDC Port Moresby Vipers. ISO then take on the Central Dabaris in round 13. The PNG Hunters piled on points against the Western Clydesdales on Saturday, defeating the visiting team, whooping 14 points to 4 win. This is Hunters' second time this season to score 40 points against an opposition. Here are the highlights from this spectacular win at the Santos National Football Stadium over the weekend.
moved it quickly there through the hands. Joshua Lau, he will score. The footwork back on the inside, too easy. And Lau goes over to score on debut. So here's a conversion from point blank, and no problem there. Receiver there as they work it across halfway, back into opposition's half the hundreds. 22 points to nil the score. Oh, here he goes, the whiz kid. No one's going to catch him from there. The celebration continues here this afternoon as I'm not showing disrespect to the first preference goal kicker in Jamie Mawaka, but here they come again. Lau looking for his second. Drops the ball behind, clean up there by Moria. There he goes. And Moria celebrates another try.
Secondary school. There's no...
Moy, their first receiver. Mire joining in the line. And then he is Moria setting up his outside man, and it's Roderick tie again. Celebration is on again.
I guess. He's done exactly that.
So at full time, the SP PNG Hunters have come out on top with a massive scoreline over the Western Clydesdales, 40 points to 4.
A great experience it was for participating teams at the OFC Women's Champions League held in Port Moresby that ended on Saturday, the 10th of June 2023. New Caledonia's AS Academy Feminine claimed the title ahead of the host Ekari United.
The 5 teams that competed in the OFC Women's Champions League were AS Academy New Caledonia, Hekari United, Koleale FC Solomon Islands, Labasa FC from Fiji, and Kiwi FC Samoa, ended on a high note in true Pacific spirit. The OFC Women's Champions League tournament in Papua New Guinea received praise from a key figure involved in women's football at world governing body FIFA.
The OFC Women's Champions League has clearly demonstrated that this region, the Pacific region, has a great potential. The players are talented, and each of the team is clearly trying to professionalize themselves with their roles, with the coaching staff and with the coaching practice.
FIFA Women's Football Competitions manager Juan Luca Familia made the long journey to Port Moresby from Zurich and returns home full of optimism about the potential of women's football in Oceania. A high-spirited Fijian team, Labasa FC, left Port Moresby yesterday, leaving with positive takings from the OFC tournament. Labasa team say they have more work to be done back home in Fiji and will come back stronger in the next OFC Women's Champion League.
From this tournament, I can say that when we go back, we will focus on our weaknesses and we'll do better, so that next year we get to win the OFC League Championship.
Susan Oreape, TVWAN Sports.
And that ends the midday news. Join us at 6 this evening for more in the main bulletin.
Back in the 80s, a new game swept the nation, Pictionary. No one was more eager to doodle their way to bonding than my mom.
Who wants to frantically draw their way to family fun?
Count me and Jeff way out.